Hello, YouTube. Today we are going to be discussing. Actually, I'm going to be doing a commentary on Dr. Phil's most recent video called Two Caucasian Women Say They've Never Benefited from White Privilege. Now, for those of you who do not know what white privilege is basically what it is. It is the privileges, advantages that are or luxuries that are afforded to you because you have light I'm sorry, white or bright skin. And these two women are going to try and debunk this myth, which unfortunately we as African Americans know this is not a myth, this is reality. So let's get into it.
I think the whole idea of white privilege is setting us back. I believe
No, white privilege is a real thing. And bringing it out in the open is not setting us back, it's bringing this issue to the surface.
that if I were black, I would be exactly where I am now. The victimization culture.
You would? Really? You look like a very privileged white woman. So tell me, if you were a black woman, would you be able to do all the things that you do? Of course you wouldn't.
Going on right now, just
Oh, this is a deflection tactic they love to use. Whenever we try to bring a serious issue out in the open, they love to use a victim shaming tactic on us. Like, oh my gosh, stop being a victim. Do something about it. Well, you know what? We are doing something about it. We are bringing this issue out in the open. And you are having a hissy fit about it. You and the next white woman who's about to come up here is going to have a hissy fit about it.
frustrates the crap out of me. I think some people in the black community use the victimization as an excuse not to do well. I feel
No, no, no. No, we are not trying to use a victimization tactic. We are again trying to out real issues that are specific to us, that happen to us. A good example of this that the mainstream media does not like to use is the fact that black renters pay more than white renters. Despite having the exact same credit score, despite having similar incomes, we African Americans pay more than our Caucasian counterparts for rent. That's just one example. I can give you loads more examples, like employment. We know that if you are African descent, your interview is not likely to be as long as someone who is of a Caucasian descent. We know that you are less likely to be hired for a job despite having the exact same education, despite having similar backgrounds. I mean, the list goes on and on. Oh, pay is another one. We are likely to be paid less than our Caucasian counterparts starting off in the same position. So this is not a myth. This is real.
like the black community needs to take some responsibility for their own problems.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we are taking responsibility. Again, we are bringing this very real issue out in the open, and unfortunately, you as a white woman can't handle it. You're having a hissy fit about it.
I never blamed anybody else for my setbacks. I don't feel like
I have a feeling she did. If she, but that's just my personal opinion.
I should be blamed for something that my ancestors did to your ancestors.
Well, we're not talking about our ancestors. We're talking about current events. We're talking about things that are happening in our community in 2018. We're not talking about 400 years ago. But if you do want to go to that extent, we can go to that extent. We can say that almost every white person in America 400 years ago did benefit off of the backs of free labor. We could talk about the fact that to this day, we as African Americans, in the social sense, are seen as lazy, criminal, violent, uh, as rapists. even though that is what your ancestors did. Your ancestors did all those things. They were lazy, definitely. Black people, we are not a lazy people. Your ancestors did the raping. I mean, your ancestors were the most violent and cruel. And some white people to this day are all those things. That's why we have the incel movement. It's all white men who are entitled to, who at least feel entitled to access to your bodies. So don't give me that crap, lady. Ah, crap. This thing is. It doesn't like me. My phone has been screwing up.
What I do is go into my bedroom and flog 60 lashes and pray for forgiveness every day. Because
No, we don't want you to lash yourself 60 times and pray for forgiveness every single day. We want you to look at this problem, recognize that it is a problem, and we want you to be part of the solution.
I'm white.
Okay, Wendy says she has worked hard for all of her successes and never benefited from white privilege. So she does not understand this victimization culture.
Listen, she may not have financially benefited from it, but there's more to white privilege than just the money.
As she calls it, that's going on right now. And then there is Renee, a different Renee, who says the term white privilege should be abolished because it just does not exist. Take a look.
Oh
I don't
gosh.
feel like I ever benefited from the so-called white privilege. I was
Well, listen, lady, you did benefit from it. You benefited socially, economically, personally, everything. I promise you, you benefited from being a Caucasian woman.
raised in a blue-collar family. We lived in a black and white neighborhood. I never felt that I was given more opportunities than any of my African American friends. I do believe that people of color are the most privileged in this country. They
In what way? In what way are we are benefiting that you are not? Please give me an example. Please give me a good example of this.
are afforded luxuries
What
that are not
luxuries?
given to the white Caucasian person. When I was a small child in grade school, and my African American friends would all get free lunch.
Oh, she's talking about an incident. She's talking about a small period of time where she couldn't get a free lunch. She and most likely she didn't get a free lunch because she didn't qualify for it. Because her family actually made enough money to make sure that she can go to school and have food in her belly during lunchtime. That is not that is, if anything, an example of how she is benefiting from this, and we as African Americans don't benefit from it.
And I would go home and be like, why is that? I worked for 10 years.
Because your black peers, their families could not afford to send them with with food, or they couldn't buy the school lunches there because their mommy and daddy didn't make enough money for it. And they needed every possible cent for everything else, unlike your parents, who, even though they were blue collar, they still had enough money to be able to feed you on a regular basis.
As a subsidized housing manager, and I got to see firsthand the privilege to minorities. All the new
Wait, what? Subsidized housing? Are you serious? Again, that only proves my point that white privilege does exist. Again, the people who are in subsidized housing are usually um, black women and black men who are in terrible ghetto jobs like McDonald's and Jack in the Box, jobs that have very few transferable skills, jobs that are low paying, jobs where if they did not get assistance, they wouldn't have a place to live, unlike you. I mean, tell me what your mom and dad did. I'm sure they made a very good living, even though they were blue collar, compared to the average African American.
Wants to talk about is the white policeman who shot the young black boy running away.
Usually the unarmed black boy. And it's not that they were running away, it's that they were scared of him. The excuse is always they were armed, when in reality they were not.
Well, if you weren't causing a crime, then you wouldn't run away.
Yeah, tell that to all the white folks that do this on a regular basis, please, lady. Tell that to all the white people who do run away from their crimes. Never really serve any sentence, because we as African Americans are given typically harsher sentences for the same crimes. Tell that to them.
Walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a duck. I do.
Walks like a dummy, talks like a dummy, it's a dummy. Which is what this woman is. No, I take that back. She's not a dummy. She is being willfully ignorant of the situation.
I think that African Americans are making a point to fuel racism in this world today. And that.
Yeah, we're making a point. We're making white people uncomfortable. Oh, please don't tell me about my white privilege. Don't tell me how I have the advantage in this world. Don't tell me how if a cop pulls me over and, you know, I, as a white person, am likely to walk away from this situation, and you, as a black person, are not. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me how I, as a white person, am more likely to get a job, and you're not. I mean, this is, again, this is a deflection tactic she's trying to use.
This term, white privilege, is one way to bring it to the forefront. I absolutely believe that the term white privilege should be abolished. Privilege should be earned. Privilege should not.
Yeah, privilege should be earned. It shouldn't be given to you just because you're Caucasian. It should be earned. I actually agree with her on this one. But it's not earned. It is given. And unfortunately for all, just about every white person on this earth, privilege is not earned. It is a given to them, and they are taught that they are entitled to this crap. This is why we have all these alt-right man children saying the shit that they do. This is why we voted for a monkey. I'm sorry, not a monkey, but an idiot in the White House. This is why we have the incel movement and all these MGTOWs. So tell that to them.
Not be afforded to you just because the world says that you are a minority.
Okay, well, joining us in the audience is Renee and Wendy, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having
us.
It's good that you're having this show, because what we see in the media is that we are constantly blamed and shamed for being white. And we don't know what to do. If I'm part of the...
That's not true. We're not blaming you for being white. We are saying that you have, because unfortunately, our system of law, our culture, our society is set up to benefit you as a Caucasian. That's what we're saying.
Problem, the white privilege problem, I have to be part of the solution. I have to be able to...
Yeah, you do have to be part of the solution, but what are you trying... Are you trying to come up with a solution, or are you just deflecting and saying that, oh, you black people just need to work harder. You black people just need to put up with it. Because that's what she's really saying in the beginning.
Be heard.
You have to admit there's a problem before there's any solution.
We have to understand and be able to have this conversation that says, look, we want to get to a society which has much less racism, but we're not there yet.
We just want to be equal with everybody.
But you're asking for that
we're
to
all
be...
Americans.
You're asking for that to...
Tell that to people. Tell that to the KKK. Tell that to the leaders of the white nationalists. Because they don't view this... They don't view it the same way. They don't see us all as one race, and that is the human race. Tell that to them, lady.
What happened now But it can't happen now because we're not there yet.
It's a national.
We're not there yet. Let me just say. I mean, I have a PhD and a law degree. I have been asked, people have looked at me because of how I look and my son looks. They've looked at me, white people, and they've said, do you speak English?
Wow.
You know? I mean, I've been told.
Stereotyping, like you said.
And they say it real slow, don't they?
Yes, because they're trying to, you know, and I'm like, Irish ants are real slow too.
Slow and loud.
But we're not there.
Solutions, but one of the ways we get to solutions is by listening and hearing. You guys keep pushing back. You're so defensive. You won't let.
Yeah, they're doing this because they can't stand the heat. That's why they're doing this. They can't stand being told the truth.
We're just frustrated and tired of being attacked.
We're not attacking. We're trying to educate. And we're all telling you that we still on a daily basis experience racism, microaggressions, and if we're going to change this, you ladies,
I know,
you
I
white
agree with
women, listen.
Ooh, we're
You
facing
got to
this.
listen and hear us.
I'm listening.
Yeah, they're trying to interrupt this black woman as she's trying to explain herself. That's another thing that if the roles were reversed, that wouldn't have been tolerated. If that black woman were a white woman and those two ladies in the audience were black, that wouldn't have been tolerated. Phil would have immediately shut them up.
And try to empathize with our experiences.
Alright, well that's all I've got for y'all today. I just really wanted to I wanted to show everybody the visceral response that a lot of white people have when it comes to hearing our side of the issue. And I just wanted to show people that this is what a lot of people think. They think that white privilege does not exist, that it's all sort of made up, which I've given to you in this video alone at least 4 examples of this, not including law enforcement. So please comment. Oh, also, please, if anybody knows where to find the full video, because I know YouTube does not allow this specific channel to upload the full episode. If anyone knows where I could find the full video of this, please let me know. And I'll see y'all next time.